fucking doing it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Encounter Roleplay. My name is Will. I'm a D&D sex icon and the world's greatest role player. I'm here today for yet another episode of Dungeons and Dragons. It's hour 9 on the 48-hour EncounterCon. Out of 48 hours, we're almost at the halfway line. Like, it feels so goddamn close. But we're here today with yet another game. So let's get to it. Let's go around the cast and crew. Let's figure out who we are and, of course, who we're going to be playing. And let's start with Don, our dungeon master for tonight. Don, how's it going, my friend?
Oh, I'm great. I'm excited to play this. We started doing the Blood Plague, started writing and working on it like at the beginning of this year, which seems like forever ago now. I'm getting to play it with everybody here. It's going to be a great cast, a great crew, and it's going to be family-friendly fun. Everybody's going to have a great time, and nothing bad is going to happen to anybody, and I can't wait.
I don't trust you, but having having been instrumental in its creation, I don't trust you at all. But I'm looking forward to it nonetheless. I've got the titles messed up. They're gonna get changed in a minute. I know, like Sid's looking a whole lot different. Sid's looking a whole lot different. I am Sid Shields now. Well, there you go.
Man, my beard went full ginger.
Right? Yeah, man, it's impressive. We have Billy with us tonight. Billy, how's it going, my friend?
Doing great, man. How are you all? I'm excited to get started with this. I've helped Don play test a little bit of this, so I have a very small inkling of what may or may not happen. I'm playing Gatto Gallowbraid, who is a level 5 thief rogue. He does not like people, and puberty did not treat him nice going into his adulthood, so he's very long and lanky and like scar and pox ridden, and he interacts with people as little as he can, and when he's forced to, he hates it.
Awesome. Dope. And of course we have Speedy back with us tonight. Speedy, how's it going, my friend?
Good. It's been so long, Will, like a whole 3 hours or something. I'm super excited to be here. I've been following the Turnclose podcast for like quite a while now. I was super hyped to have the chance to be able to play in this game, and I have immediately decided to take on the role of a crow, Ali Ludlow, or the Hatchling Crow, to play in this low magic, dark fantasy world as a grave cleric.
Awesome. That's gonna be fun. Great stuff. And I know, Jack, we're having some frame rate issues, but you should be coming fine for an audio. Jack, how's it going, my friend? Oh no, Jack is also muted.
Oh, can you hear me now?
There we go. Yeah, I hear you now.
Every techno problem in the universe. Tech is the first thing to go in Penumbra, apparently. So I'm super excited for this. I actually had the great privilege of being one of the editors on this, which means I've read it top to bottom a couple times over. So I have all kinds of horrible visions of where this might be going tonight. All of them are full of kittens and flower rainbows, so it's gonna be great. And I am playing Finian, who is a halfling wizard who is a bit tall for a halfling, which means most people think he's just a short, kind of shrunken old man instead, so he can kind of masquerade as whatever he prefers, but he's a little bit kooky in the head in his age as well, so we'll see how that works out for everybody.
Awesome stuff. So, I've got a couple of possible fixes for you, actually, in the Twitter chat, Jack, so we can try and figure that out. Before we start today's game, I'll quickly remind you guys as well that here at EncounterCon, it's hour 9, Jesus. You guys can interact with today's show. If you haven't retweeted this tweet, 20 retweets of your decision. You guys get to decide something which happens next in our game. And, of course, if you haven't subscribed, then you can do it September at the moment. So, you gift a sub, I think it's $1 to renew the sub. I don't know, I heard it like 6 hours ago, so it's difficult to remember. And of course, you can donate to a friendly game as well. Give players net ones at 20s, wild, magic surges, and worse. Giveaways at the end of this game. I'll hand over to Don a little bit to talk about the Blood Plague and where we're going to find ourselves today.
Absolutely. So we're going to be playing a part of the Blood Plague today, which is a much longer campaign, not just a short 3-hour adventure, but I've taken it and rearranged it and done some things to it so that even the fellas who have play tested it or read all the way through it probably won't see everything coming that's going to be coming today. The Blood Plague takes place in the world of Penumbra. This is a dark, medieval-inspired fantasy world, low magic. If you've not listened to the Turncloaks podcast that Will DMs, you absolutely should. It's amazing. It's what got me connected with Encounter Roleplay almost a year ago now. And our story is taking place sort of on the side of that main story of Turncloaks. And this is taking place sometime in the past. If you're up to date on what's happening now, this is before then. This is shortly after Arkenbury Cathedral became a beacon of light, both figuratively and literally, for all of the refugees suffering from the Blood Plague. Now, the Blood Plague is, like a lot of plagues, something that doesn't just come and go. It sticks around. It gets worse. It has implications and devastations that are beyond just that of deadly disease. It changes the way society is shaped and formed. It makes people desperate. It makes ambitious people see opportunity in other people's despair. And that's sort of the world that we're in right now. Now, the four of you rode under a banner of peace on a mission of diplomacy. You are ambassadors and bodyguards for the newfound Southern Federation. Your federation is formed of refugees from the plague-ravaged marshlands and the Farlands. The Farlands are distant continents home to more exotic races from across the sea. This is where halflings and tieflings and draconians and some of those races come from. Your mission here in Ostwald, the capital city of the Midlands, was to help establish legal representation, recognition as a new neighboring nation to the powerful Midlands Empire. And your mission so far has not gone well. The situation in Ostwald wasn't at all what you expected. Emperor Godfrey was dead when you arrived, your best chance at a peaceful future. Civil war between noble factions drowns the countryside, and the Blood Plague is now spread across the continent, affecting the Midlands and not just the markets. The nobles have been so focused on war and climbing the ranks of power that when you arrived, you were treated as hostile spies, basically. You were not welcomed. Weren't outright immediately captured, but your leader, who is a charismatic figure, a draconian knight named General Eshtar, in the middle of the night, last night, he was stolen away from his bed, right out from underneath your noses. And he was dragged to face the judgment of Sir Wenton and the vicious nobles known as the 100. The 100 are sort of the most powerful, influential, oftentimes evil figures in the Midlands. So you've escaped capture thus far, and you have tracked Eshtar down. He's been taken to St. Ardalman's graveyard, where he is to be publicly executed as a war criminal come sunset. As you sneak across the dockside district of Ostwald, hoping to reach Eshtar before it's too late, you look above you, and the sun is already setting. Red and purple hues staining the sky, and you realize that you're running out of time. You've not yet reached the execution site. As you near the graveyard, let's go around because I want to know a little bit more about your characters before we get started. Let's start with Jack. Jack, tell me a little bit more about who you're playing and why your character is involved with the Southern Federation, what the Federation means to him.
We may not have Jack right now. Technical things are still happening.
Okay.
We can hear him, we just can't see him.
Okay. I don't think the stream can hear him right now. Let's see. Red 5. There we go. Now you do. Go ahead, Jack.
Okay. You hear that?
It's like super choppy. It sounds like I know if that's the same for anyone else. It sounds like super low bandwidth sort of issue right now.
Okay, I guess come back to me. I'm going to switch back to the original way.
Okay.
I said that worked better.
Well, let's jump over to Will then. Will, who are you playing, and why are they involved with the Southern Federation?
Yeah, I'm playing a human who was sort of involved in the Midlands before. He was sort of levied as a soldier, despite really being more of a farmer. And his name is simply Tom. And he essentially has grown tired of the ways of the 100, having been levied for a soldier before and had to go to war. When he returned home from war and did 10 years service or however many he did, he no longer could really settle down in the same way that he had done before. And so he traveled southwards where he heard about this federation. And despite the coming of the blood plague more recently, I think he's probably been involved in the federation for the past couple of months or so, having headed down that way before things started to get really bad. And I think he's now caught in a situation where he kind of wants to go home again. He's in a place where he's switched sides a few times. Like, he hasn't actually declared allegiance, and he hasn't burned any real bridges as such, but he's kind of been caught out by his heart a few times, and now he finds himself in this difficult situation of being like, actually, I'd kind of like to go home again if things are getting really bad. So that's how involved he is at the moment. Yeah.
So he's a bit of a fair weather friend to the Southern Federation.
Right.
Would you say his purpose is a little bit more of that of guard or more of an ambassador?
I think he's the bridge between maybe the two. He's not particularly well spoken, but he represents something of the Midlands, just due to his accent and his him being human and his skin. So I think they probably use him in the sense that, oh, look, here's one of you guys, and we're just like you, see? So he probably gets tossed around a little bit like that, which he doesn't mind, but he's also not adverse to a scrap.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's go over to Bill now. Bill, tell me a little bit more about Gatto and why Gatto's involved with the Southern Federation.
Gatto's involved with the Southern Federation because he was from the South to begin with. He always sought opportunity and wasn't good at it at all until recently, where he heard about people going up to the Midlands to try to save this thing and rally behind the general. And there was a person in line ahead of him because nobody thought well of him, and he thought that this was his moment. David Hasselhoff and Jekyll and Hyde, like, this is his moment. So he followed him home and bound him up and threw him in the basement, locked the door, and then he showed up in his place when we traveled north. And nobody really asked too many questions, and if they did, he didn't say anything. So he's definitely not where he belongs, but he's trying to see what he can make out of it, and to see what the situations in the Midlands could provide him for his own personal gain.
Awesome. Okay. All right, I like that. Speedy, tell me a little bit more about Allie, about your crow.
Yeah, so Allie grew up in a small marshland town. She was only about 12 years old when the plague first hit. The plague being so devastatingly just awful that most of her town was wiped out immediately. And by the time that a crow had arrived in town to try and salvage it. The only thing that they could do was try and quarantine those few people who still seemed healthy. And Allie was one of those people. So at 12 years old, she was locked away in a room where she was told to wait and not come out until he came back to get her. And there she stayed, hidden, hungry, thirsty, unable to really do anything but just retreat into her own mind. And after several days of just complete solitude, when she could do nothing else, when she knew that if she didn't do anything else she would die, she walked outside and saw the ruin before her. Every single other person in her town dead. Blood running through the streets, corpses, the fetid smell of them all throughout. Her mind was shattered. She was broken on the brink of death already, and the only thing that she could really do was just sort of search for any signs of life, and she couldn't find it. The only thing she found was the crow, who had closed her inside and told her to wait, who was responsible for saving her life at some cost. Dead on the ground as well. Mass called to her in a way she couldn't quite explain, and her mind, unable to comprehend the horrors before her, put it onto her face, and suddenly everything was clear again. She was able to look at the corpses all around her and feel nothing. She was able to return to having some semblance of this childhood joviality to her, because the mask, in some way trying to protect her, shielded her mind from all of that. And so she collected what things she could. She spent some time trying to just get well, and she set out north, looking for anything. Well, and maybe trying to take on the path of a crow, maybe just trying to find a home. But the first closest thing to a home she found was this southern force. They were relieved to see a crow coming with them. They had been fleeing from this plague for so long. They didn't know that she didn't really have the medical training other than just the instincts that the mask provided her, but they didn't seem to care. It gave them some validity, and, well, when traveling and trying to represent the South to the Midlands, having someone who is a valid face, a familiar beaked mask that shows that you're not carrying it, helps. So she stayed with them.
And how old is Allie now? How long has passed?
It's been a couple of years now. I'd say she's 14 years old. Still very young.
Very young. Jack, do we have you back now?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Hopefully it'll come to clear enough to work for us for now. Yeah, so I am playing as Finian, who is he's a halfling who, part of the reason he was sent was because of his kind of vast knowledge. He understands a lot of the ways of kind of science and different practices like that. And so through that, he's able to carry a lot of knowledge, especially in times of disease and things like that, to aid them on their adventure. Besides that, he's also very good at defending himself, so he could protect them on the road and in this dangerous kind of area. And then another very important thing that he has, like I kind of said at the beginning, is he's a bit tall for a halfling, so he can very easily kind of hunch over his kind of walking staff that he uses and play off as being a human who's just kind of an old, frail man that a lot of people just kind of shrug to the side as just another guy walking down the street, when in fact he's actually a halfling who's here. Trying to kind of act kind of as more of an ambassador, meeting with different people, things like that. He's a bit senile, but also has kind of his moments of wisdom and understanding and things like that. Just really trying to help his people make a place in this world for them.
If you could say anything about the Southlands Federation, this new would-be nation, it's that they are optimists. They see the world, or what the world could be, in a way that most people in Penumbra cannot. And so the idea that they would send the four of you, along with General Eshtar, who is a vaulted hero, a veteran warrior, that's part of that optimism. You're not nobodies, you're not without skills, but certainly the four of you are not capable of standing up alone to the might of the 100, their armies, the Knights of Ostwald. And so as you arrived at Ostwald and were met with closed doors and veiled threats, over the past several days, your attempts at diplomacy have all failed, and the situation's gotten more and more tense. Now that General Eshtar has been taken, you find yourselves, as I said before, sneaking through the streets, trying to avoid detection. Most of the city, in the Dockside District, which is a very populated district on the south end of Ostwald. This is where people who aren't allowed into the city proper stay. This is the dregs of society. Throngs of the city are traveling, and you realize that you don't really have to sneak because you can just move along with the throngs and nobody's looking directly for you. And none of you, maybe thankfully for you, stand out like General Eshtar did. He is a draconian. He's he's half dragon, half man. He's lizard-like. He's a mutant in these people's eyes. You're able to move with the crowd, but because the crowd is moving so slowly, there's so many of them that it takes you so long to get there. And the sun has set by the time you reach the graveyard where the execution site is. And you reach the gates of the graveyard, the crowd funneling through, everything is slowing down. And you guys have a moment where you stop and you have to make a decision on what you're going to do.
So we're surrounded by people at in the graveyard. Execution's about to happen.
It's very difficult to see over the walls or over the crowd of people. You're going to have to get closer, but there's definitely torches lit. Some of the torches are lit from the crowd, but a lot of them are lit from further into the graveyard where you can imagine this execution site is set up. And you are stuck in the middle of this throng trying to get through.
Okay.
I can't just stay here. I have to do something.
Gallo wants to, how close is the closest wall?
You've not yet stepped through the gates, but you are approaching this funnel point as the crowd kind of wedges their way through the gate. So you're actually very close to the wall right now.
All right, can I break off and try to scale the wall?
Yes, there are a lot of people around, and although it is getting darker, it'll be difficult to do so without being spotted. So if you want to do that, I'll let you make me first a stealth roll. But are you gonna? What's everybody else doing?
I think.
I'm just gonna start. I'm just gonna start talking. Excuse me, everyone. Could you make way? Important crow business. No one wants the plague. It's best if we all move forward and stay calm.
A large burly man smashes into you as you're trying to push your way through into this 14-year-old girl. Does she have her crow mask on currently?
Yes. She never.
Of course she does. Of course.
She's also wearing
so you do get you do get some odd looks.
Despite the fact she's not that strong.
Probably bought it from some dwarves or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but this much larger man crashes into you. Watch where you're going. Keeps pushing through. It doesn't look like anybody's really given way.
Excuse me there. Allie, what was it?
Allie, yes.
Listen, I'm aware that we've been traveling a long time, but you're very small and I forget your name. So, what are the odds that you can go underneath all of these people to see what's going on? Like, you're small. They're not going to notice you, right? I do it, but I'm 6'1.5".
I'm small, but I've got some heft. I don't know if you've noticed the large metal armor that I'm wearing. It's a bit...
I did notice. I'm gauging your aptitude, okay? I'm trying to see if you would want to do it, but clearly that's not the case, so we have to find another solution. Let's say, that wall. I can scale the wall. It would cause a scene, but I could do it.
Perhaps I could be of assistance there. I could cause quite a distraction. Draw some eyes off of you.
Let's, yeah, that sounds like hysteria, and I don't think we need that at the moment. Maybe we just stand in line. Let's just stand in line, right? There's nothing wrong with that.
Let's just push our way through a wee bit. We're big boys. I'm gonna start sort of, not like aggressively, like I'm not like murdering people, but there's, me and Gatto.
Throwing your weight into it.
Yeah, we can throw our weight around a little bit. It's like, it's not a mosh, but it's like when you're trying to get to the front of the stage at a festival and you don't give a shit because you're never going to see these people again.
And you have a sword.
And you have fucking swords. Right?
There you go.
Yeah. If you guys want to try to, as a group, kind of push your way through, I'll let everybody give me an athletics check, and we'll see how quickly you can kind of push.
Yeah. Okay. Go team. Let's see. There we go. 21. Oh wait, mine didn't roll properly. Fuck that. 10. My motor skills are failing me.
How successful the group was as a whole, despite Tom's personal, even though it was his idea, he's kind of struggling a little bit more for a moment. But as a group, you guys are able to start pushing your way through, and a couple of the folks seem something about Gatto's size, or maybe it's the pox on his face in particular. They're starting to move aside, and you're able to slowly kind of get further and further in the line. And as you do, you're getting to this area where the crowd is starting to cheer, and it's that sort of angry mob, hungry for blood. These people are oppressed. They are hungry. Their loved ones are dying of the plague. Some of these people may have the plague themselves, and here's an enemy they can see. And that's when you see and hear what happens next. Further at the end of the crowd is a platform raised, built for this purpose. A series of torches lining the outside of the platform so that everyone can see. And impaled on a wooden pole is General Eshtar, his armor stripped, his long, jagged, draconian teeth broken, and ropes are tied to several implements that have been thrust through his body. These ropes are taut, and they run to a series of 8 carts that are off the platform. These 8 carts all have horses pointed in the opposite direction of Eshtar. And you hear the voice of his jailer, perhaps his would-be executioner, a noble-looking knight with flowing blonde hair and a chiseled, strong jawline, bright blue eyes. And he says, "General Eshtar of the Southern Federation, you are charged and found guilty by Lord Wenton and all of the Noble 100. Your crime is thus: entreating with hostile spies in an effort to harm the government and the people of the Midlands." And at this, a cry goes out in the crowd. And again, this is that hungry, blood hunger cry. He continues and says, "Your sentence is thus: you will be executed and your traitorous body ripped apart to be fed to Lord Wenton's dogs." Do you have any final words? You have a moment here.
That seems a bit dramatic.
Well, I love that drama, the 100.
I'd say, oh,
I don't think it's a good idea for us to get involved here.
No.
He's already
but
dead.
I'm certainly not one for dramatics, so I agree with you there. However, I feel like there might be some people around that could spare to lose some coin. Perhaps a ruby or two.
Is this really the time?
Yes. Yes, it is.
No. Well, no. I think that we have a chance to save his life. Why not take it?
By all means, then. Please, after you. Please walk into the center of this whole thing and stop it.
Yeah, listen, Hatchling, I don't mean to be rude, but I don't want to see the four of us all up there tomorrow. Getting pulled apart by the horses.
Very right. Not to mention we came here to try and make peace. If we start something here, that could be war.
Hey.
I feel like right now this is a lose the battle, potentially win the war scenario, so we should probably just
at this point, is anyone taking any immediate actions beyond your conversation?
No, I don't want to step into this one.
Nope.
How about the hatchling crow?
She's tempted, but no. She takes a step forward towards one of the ropes. And she has her hand on her sickle, but she's not doing anything.
And Gatto, just despite him being rude and an asshole, kind of out of the corner of his eye, watches her and then takes a hand and keeps it on her shoulder, just to make sure she doesn't do anything stupid.
Yeah, I think I'm wearing some kind of flat cap, and I take off my hat as I realize that this guy's about to die. It is sort of already a sign of deference to any kind of god, but just respect for the guy who's,
a sign of respect.
Yeah.
I'll let you being so close, the closest to what's happening. Allie, go ahead and give me a perception check. There's a lot of people around, a lot of knights, a lot of guards, and you're beginning to feel like there's no way you could win this fight. All eyes are on the general. As the general lifts his head up, coughs out a spattering of blood and begins to speak, you do see a figure moving through the crowd and stops. This is a large, leathered armored man, brutish looking man. You've seen the sort before, and his gaze turns directly towards you. before you or he do anything further, the general does start to speak, and his head turns and loses you for a moment as he watches the general speak. Eshtar, sort of head hanging low, finds a way to bring up his shoulders even though he's impaled on this wooden pole. And for a moment, despite how beaten he is, he looks regal to you. And he speaks in a way that everyone in the crowd can hear. He says, "To all of you in the Midlands who will hear me, our world is changing. The old traditions are fading away. Feudalism, oppression, inequality. The Southland Federation offers its hand in friendship and democracy to all who would embrace a better future. If I must die here, I do so willingly, because I believe the future is worth fighting for." He spits out another bit of blood and looks to the blue-eyed, blonde-haired, attractive knight beside him, grimaces and says, "That's all. Just get on with it." Do you all just watch?
Unblinkingly.
Yeah. Finian pulls off his hat and just kind of holds his hat kind of between his arms over his chest and watches.
Yeah. I think Tom almost bows his head and then he makes himself watch.
And then
Some of you
Keeping
Gallo,
an eye on that.
Gallo,
I'm keeping an eye on the other guy as well.
Okay.
Gallo checks to make sure that Allie's watching.
You see Allie, whose gaze is sort of flickering between something in the crowd and the man, General Eshtar, who's about to be executed. And the execution begins a moment later. Some of you might have seen executions before. Probably not like this. The poles that have been thrust through him that are tied to these wooden carts. At the whistle of the night, the carts begin riding away on their horses, driving them. And you watch as General Eshtar's face, his figure, proud and noble, changes. His body racked with pain. He screams in a way that you've never heard a living creature scream. And you watch his body being torn apart in 8 different directions by these carts. And before there's nothing left of him to speak of, you see fear in his eyes, a fear that you've never known him to show. The crowd goes wild, cheering, leering. It's deafening.
You may find one smart person that you can talk to, but no matter how many smart people in a group together, they're stupid. They deserve to die anyways.
Well, with this plague spreading around, they might all just do that. Be careful what you say.
No one deserves to die like that.
Let's not wish it upon them.
Okay, so everybody's just taking the high ground now. Fine, that's cool, whatever.
Allie, at this point, you see that brutish figure in the crowd look back towards you again, and this time he points a leather-gloved finger. He's speaking to 2 other figures, not quite as big as he is, but both brutish-looking. You've traveled a bit. You've experienced some hardships. I think you would probably know, as would Gatto, or probably Tom too, if pointed out. These are sort of the figures that they look like bounty hunters. In Ostwald, oftentimes the knights don't want to get their hands dirty, or the guards maybe aren't the most apt to hunt down fugitives. They'll hire hardened criminals or mercenaries to sort of do the work of the nobles for them. And that these guys sort of have that look of they're thugs, but also nobody's getting in their way, and they're starting to come towards you.
Hey, heads up. We should get out of here before someone figures out we're with that guy. I'd motion up to the general.
I agree. Gatto starts backpedaling and tries to sneak and disappear into the crowd by ducking.
Yeah,
what's everybody else doing? Yeah, you guys are just trying to like get to the back of the crowd?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, Finian just gonna put his hat back on and kind of pull it low over his face, and then kind of hunch over his cane, kind of mimicking like an old man, and just kind of begin following slowly to the back of the crowd.
The crowd still
hides nothing.
Yeah, and it's hard for her too. Despite being so small, she is in chainmail and has that beaked mask, the plague doctor mask of the crows. The crowd's distracted by what's happening on stage. The knights are making a show of what's left of General Eshtar, crude motions, disrespectful emotions. But those three figures are pushing their way through the crowd. You guys got a nice little head start on them. And as you get to the back of this large gathering of poor souls, Allie, you feel something grab your wrist. Are you wearing gauntlets in addition to a mail?
Yeah.
So you can't really feel much about it at first. You just feel a force kind of pull on your arm. And you hear a voice. Little Crow, we have to get you out of here.
I'm already on my way, thank you. And I pull my hand away and continue walking faster, pushing through the crowd.
You hear the creaking and then a bump of what sounds like wood against stone. And as you exit through the back of the crowd, this figure exits a moment later. You would all be able to see him at this point. He's an elf, old, very old, in tattered clothing, probably homeless. But there are some runes, tattoos carved on his shoulders that you can see through the tatters, and there's a certain intelligence in his eyes and a kindness too. And he'll call out to the lot of you, barely audible over the din of the crowd's cheers. I know who you are, and I want to help you.
Gatto glances over at Tom and kind of like a perceptive reading, try to like get what he's thinking, and then slowly try to, from Tom's position, flank the old elf.
You'll
like casually.
It's not hard, because as he comes out of the back of the crowd, you'll notice he's in a wheelchair. He's wheeling, and he's muscular. He's surprisingly strong. But he's wheeling himself towards you. He holds up a hand and he says, "There's no need for that. I know a way out of the city. Everyone's looking for you. Please, let me help you."
What's in it for you?
You're driving that sympathy card pretty strong.
I'm old. Trust me, I wish I weren't in this chair, but I am. Look, not everyone in Ostwald believes what Sir Wenton believes. The Southland Federation General Eshtar You are rising up. You are bringing the oppressed races with you. I want nothing more than that for my elvish brothers and sisters. We are not treated much better than those in the south are here. You must get to Arkhamberry Cathedral and tell them what has happened here.
At that, I look over towards Ali. I glance over the shoulder at the mercenaries who are kind of closing in on us.
And you can see they're almost to the back of the crowd now.
Yeah. All right. If you know a way out of here and you can't help us, then, well, looks like our best option right now.
Agreed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. He looks over his shoulder at this point, sort of following Tom's gaze, and he sees the figures, the brutish figures, coming through the crowd, pointing fervently towards Ali in particular. And it's this point that you see a ways back in the crowd, several armored figures. These look like the guards of the city. They're following too, a little bit further behind. And very quickly, faster than you would think an old man capable of, he's wheeling his wheelchair over rocky ground across the top of dead man's dirt, around tombstones, towards a barely moonlit statue of knight. And this is a knight that's in an armor that you don't recognize. This is from old times, a civilization that's long past. It stands silently in front of the sort of mountainous wall that blocks in one side of this graveyard. And he says, can you create a distraction? Can you hold them off for just a minute?
I sure can.
What's your specialty?
Oh, I'm very good at those.
Well, please, there isn't much time, and I don't want them to see where you're going.
Okay, so Finian is gonna kind of look around, and there's still like a big mob kind of around here.
Yeah, that's right. They're facing the other direction. It's only a few soldiers at the moment, and these three brutish-looking figures that are heading towards you.
Okay, and have they gotten through the crowd yet, or are they like looking around it? Because it's sure if he can maybe use the crowd against them.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't gotten through the crowd yet, but the three figures are nearly breaking through the back of the crowd at this point.
Okay, so what he is going to do, let's see. Yeah, so let's see. You have to low magic this a bit. Are there trees around here at all? In this graveyard?
They're all gnarled and leafless for the most part, but there are plenty of grotesque-looking trees in the graveyard.
Perfect. So what he's going to do is he's going to kind of step up and reach into his coat for a moment and be like, let's see, I have them here somewhere. Where are they at? And he kind of shuffles around for a minute. And he pulls out these little kind of round canisters that he made. And then he's going to take them and pull out like a little device and light fuse on them and begin throwing these towards trees, towards flammable objects, not trying to hurt people in the crowd, but to start fires, to set things on fire, as he is, in game terms, casting the firebolt cantrip, kind of throwing these little kind of fiery, like firecracker-like devices he has produced around the crowd, trying to basically get the crowd into a panic, distract guards, make it difficult for them to reach them.
Awesome. So what I want you to do is, we'll say you have time to throw two of these prepared devices before the bounty hunter thugs break through the back of the crowd. Go ahead and make me 2 attack rolls, and give me either an Arcana check, or I'll even accept like performance, something supporting ability check too.
Okay, sure. So first attack roll is going to be a 14. Second attack roll is going to be a 19, and then I'll give you an Arcana check. That's going to be a 22.
So I don't know how much magic or alchemy you've seen Finian do, the rest of you, but he throws these two devices expertly. One of them almost misses the tree, but it hits the base of it. The other one strikes it dead in the center, and using his expertise, he's able to do so in such a way that the trees light up like giant torches, beacons, but the fire doesn't immediately spread. Nobody's immediately caught in any sort of explosion. No innocent bystanders are exposed to this fire, but people do panic. And for the moment, the crowd closes in, people start running towards the gate, and those three bounty hunters are swept up, still trying to push their way towards you, but they are definitely being trampled on and fighting back against the crowd as people begin to panic.
Like, I'm deeply distrustful of Finian's alchemy. As while I may be open to the idea of, like, racial equality, the idea of that includes everyone except for magic users, who in Tom's eyes are probably a different race of people, and they're not included in his idea of what the world should look like so much. So but he finds it, it's obviously useful, so he's turning a blind eye to Finian more so, but like, if they ever directly confronted one another about their views, they would clearly, be an argument. But yeah.
It's a bad Thanksgiving conversation to have.
Right, like, it comes up every Thanksgiving, like, family meals are super awkward.
While this is happening, the elf in the wheelchair doesn't even look back. He just keeps wheeling on, and he brings himself to that stone statue of an ancient knight in front of this rocky wall. And with both hands rising up, he grabs the sword arm of the statue and powerfully brings it down, and the sword comes down. And as the tip of the blade touches the dirt, there is a little bit of a groan beneath your feet, a little bit of a shaking in the dirt. Not much sound, as a rock wall wheels away and opens a passage that seems to go down into the earth. Quickly, this will take you out. It heads out to the forest, Arkhamberry Forest. There you can lose them. Due west-southwest. That will take you to the cathedral. They must know what has happened here.
Will you be joining us on this journey?
I would only slow you down. My place is here with those who are suffering, where I can look out after them.
Well, I must say I apologize for my harsh behavior, and thank you.
My rat sense is going off, and this seems bad, but I don't see any other choice we could have.
Yes,
please.
I mean, it's either this or the mob, so this seems best.
Go, Tom. I think you should take the lead. I'll get the back. Two short folk get in the middle.
Yeah, I gotta light up a torch if it's dark in there, and
it's hard to tell how dark it is, but yeah, a torch could help.
Yeah, place a cautious foot forwards and head in. Thank you, old man.
Yeah, Finian glares at the rogue for a minute, like, "Who are you going short?" Kind of shakes his fist, and then quickly follows in second.
Thank me by succeeding, by creating the better future that your general wished for. And Little Crow.
Yes?
You are strong in a way that you cannot even imagine.
Well,
does this seem like the time for rainbows and shit? I think we should get moving.
Yes, you should. I will close the way behind you. Just keep following the path.
Thanks for the tip, old man.
Thank you, wheelchair man.
goodbye.
Come on, you lot.
You all head in.
Yes.
You descend an ancient set of stairs that seem to have been carved from the stone of the earth itself. Not a lot of decor or anything like that, as far as you can tell. They do kind of wind around, and oddly enough, as you near the bottom of them, a dim torchlight burns from deeper within the passage. Bottom of the set of stairs, you find yourself in a small chamber supported by a single basalt column. What's strange is that wrapped in a black tarp and tied to this very same column, there's a dark shape. And as you get to the bottom of the stairs, you can hear the dark shape moan. You can see the shape quiver a little. Maybe it heard your approach, whatever it is.
Wonder what that is. That's a little weird.
Yeah, I don't like that.
As suddenly the chamber begins to shake, and dirt from the earth-packed ceiling above you rains down. You hear the entrance to the passage behind grind to a close. If you are still able, maybe you're in the back of the line, to look up to the top where you would have seen a doorway, a passageway before, now there is only earth, seemingly unmovable.
Cool. This is
Wow.
perfect.
Don't like that. Don't like that at all. Maybe send us to our deaths.
How do these tunnels? Is there another way out? How do we?
You will notice that beyond the column, beyond the black tarp writhing on the column, is a passageway further into a tunnel. This room is well lit. There are 4 lights. They're strange. They flicker with a slight green glow that is not normal. There are a couple more torches lighting the passageway beyond, but it takes a sharp turn, and it's hard to see what lies beyond this room from here.
Finian is going to take out a small pouch from his belt and kind of dash this powder on the end of his staff, and then kind of light it with his little lighter again. And this material is going to kind of begin to glow like a little torch, as he is in a game mechanic casting the cantrip light, so that we have a source of light here in this room, other than a torch.
So you have Tom's torch, you have Finian's light, you have, again, this figure's...
Yeah, Finian's gonna look over the rogue and be like, "Well, you're the tough one. Go see what it is."
He's got a point.
I'm tough. Did I say that I was tough? Just because I'm an asshole doesn't mean I'm tough.
Fine. I'll take a look.
Coward.
Oh yeah, big talking.
And I'm afraid they'll be using some.
As you get closer to the column, Tom, the writhing stops, the moaning stops, and for a second, the tarp-covered thing is still.
Throw off the tarp. Actually, I don't throw it off dramatically. Tom probably he draws his sword, he sighs, he knows he's about to see some shit he doesn't want to see, and he's gonna peel away the tarp to see what's beneath. Stay back.
The figure beneath is leather clad and not as terrifying maybe as you had expected it to be, but most interestingly, bears a similar sort of mask to the one that Ali wears. This is a plague doctor style mask. This is the mask of a crow. This one is blue, and barnacles are etched into it where runes are etched into some others. This has several squid-like tentacles that come from either side of the mask, with the beak still in the middle. And the figure's head rises up, dark eyes staring through the mask to Tom's to meet his gaze as he tears off the tarp. And you hear again,
Oh, look, Allie, you're twins.
Yeah, Ali, you're gonna want to see this.
Yeah, Finian just kind of whacked the rogue like the back of his leg with a stick.
what are you whacking?
Oh,
Whack the rogue?
Yeah, the rogue's like whenever he says his little comment, he just smacks him in the back of the ankle.
Is this the first time that Finian's whacked the rogue during this journey?
Probably not. Probably haven't followed him. Like a little bruise right there.
I'll get you one of these times. You gotta sleep sometime.
I just realized I've been muted.
Oh no. So yeah, what's Allie doing?
I step forward. Oh, this is exciting! Another crow! Hello there! This is my first time meeting another crow.
It's not speaking properly.
Probably because it's got something in its mouth. You might want to take it out.
Oh, I feel kind of uncomfortable taking off someone else's mask, but
Alright, I'll do it. Let me.
No.
Oh no. Okay, you were worried before, but then when I try to help out, I'm an asshole again. Can't win.
You can see the crow tied to the column is like viciously shaking its head when you suggest taking off its mask. Their mask.
Doesn't like that.
So wait a minute, guy in the mask. So I'm going to ask you a question. You can respond. Should I take off your mask? Okay, that's a no.
Hey, did the elf put you here? The old man in the wheelchair.
Okay, well, first off, shake your head up and down for yes, left or right for no. Let's establish some ground rules here.
Yes.
He kind of jerks his head after that. After shaking his head yes, nodding yes, he like jerks his head back to the column and like pulls at his binds. He is tied, his arms behind his back to the column.
All right, so the old elf. I probably don't stop him.
Yeah. He'll fall to the ground and start to stand up, and it looks like he's almost standing, and then he falls again. It's that sort of thing that if you've ever, I don't know, had your legs fall asleep for a really long time or suffered from atrophy, the muscles just don't, they can't really hold your weight. It takes him a few really unfortunate tries to kind of, and he steadies himself against the rock wall. And so at this point, go ahead. I'll say for Finian and Allie, give me your choice of either Arcana or religion checks.
Okay, Arcana check. That's a 12 from Finian.
22 on religion.
So, Allie, you get the sense that there's not something in his mouth so much as that somehow this is the sort of thing that people who are enemies of the crows, who maybe even hunted the crows, that you've heard whispers of, where they might actually peel off part of the mask and sew their mouths shut. Their lips closed, and you get the gut instinct that that might be what's happened here, that his lips might be sewn shut beneath his mask.
Yikes.
So,
Bastard. The elf tricked us down here.
Never trust an old man.
So, showing your fingers, how long have you been down here? Years? Days? 3 days. 3 days? 2 days? 1 day? 2 days.
I don't think he
days.
knows.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got your lips sewn shut and you're trapped down in darkness, it gets a wee bit hard to track the time.
Did he see your lips closed? The elf?
Okay.
Did you deserve it?
He's still for a really long time. He doesn't shake his head yes or no, but he does just let out a sort of muffled sigh. And he will take his fingers up to his mask and get down on his knees in front of Allie.
You want me to take it off?
He starts to peel away the mask from his flesh, and it does. It tears and stretches. It doesn't want to leave his face. And he doesn't get it far up, but just enough above his face that you can see that indeed his lips have been sewn shut. There's blood staining all around his mouth, and he's holding it there.
Right, I guess I can try to do this. I pull out the only sharp thing I have, which is a sickle, so it's going to be a little curved in there.
I'm gonna stop him before she does that, and just like, I don't know, get out like a dagger that I use to like, like pick at my teeth or something like that. Like it's a blade, but it's, it's not like a weapon as such.
Yeah, it's not a sickle.
Right, it's not like a sickle. Yeah. So hey, no, don't use this. It's meant to be doctors, not.
Yeah, I probably should be at some point, but anyways, I start to cut his mouth open.
You do nick his lip a little bit. It's just really hard to get these tightly sewn etchings free from his lips. But with some work, you're able to get through with the dagger. And he sort of wipes some blood from his face and leans back against the wall and lets the mask clamp back down over his face. Oh, thank you. I thought I was going to be like that for a long time. Who are you?
Doesn't matter who we are. Who are you?
I beg to differ, young man. It matters to me very much.
But we don't have to tell you anything. But I would like for you to tell us how you ended up down here.
They call me the Crow of the Deep. I have been a crow for a long time. So long that I don't even remember my other name anymore. It was he who brought me here. Adarian, the elf, the liar.
Certainly lied to us as well.
Did he bring you here too?
He doesn't matter. Shit, we're lost. Yeah, he did. He told us to go down this tunnel and escape somewhere.
Didn't sew our mouths shut or anything.
We're not
Like
friends
maybe
on the 100.
the wrong end.
Well, I don't claim to know what lies on the other side of this tunnel, but there is only one way, and that is forward.
You said that it was Arkenbury Forest. Isn't that where you crows hail from?
Not I. You could say that I and the other crows see the world a little differently. I'm not officially of their order any longer.
Right, well, not really interested in the politics of it. If you can help us get out of here and get to safety, then you're all right by me. Name's Tom.
Tom, well, thank you for releasing me. Looks down to Allie. And you, who are you?
They call me the Hatchling Crow. I'm a new one, too.
Huh.
So, not quite as experienced as you are, but... Well, this will be my first trip to Arkenberry. So, perhaps you could make some sort of introduction to the other ones if you know them so well.
Well, I'm not sure they'll be happy to see me, Allie, but I will go with you. I have nowhere else to go, and I cannot stay here. And don't worry about experience. It's not all it's cracked up to be. Comes with aches and creaks and pains that I am weary of.
No, you're speaking my language.
Water. Do you have any water? I could drink a lake.
Finian will pull out a water skin that he has, and we'll kind of hold it out to him and say, "Pleasure to meet you."
Ah, and you too. Thank you again. And he'll take the water and just sort of tilt his head and just start pouring it through the holes of his mask. It's not very efficient. He's wasting a good deal of your water. But you can tell by the way he's gulping it down that he is very, very thirsty. And after a second, he'll say, "Well, we can't stay here. We need to keep going. I will follow and do what I can to help. When we get to the forest, I know the way to Arkenberry."
All right.
One more thing before we go. You didn't really answer my question before. Did you deserve what the wizard did to you?
Allie, you'll learn in this life that...
I don't really care for your esoteric statements. I really just want to know, what did you do that deserved it?
Answer the little girl, man.
I have blood on my hands. Some of it, once I thought righteous. But I was wrong. But that is not why he brought me here. He is an enemy to peace. He is a sower of chaos. You do not want to know a Darien, and I pray for all of our sakes that none of us see him again.
Tell me, Crow, why do you think this Adarius has focused on us? Why send us down here?
I do not know who you are, why you're here. I do not know. All I know is that Arkenberry, for better or worse, is one of the only safe refuges left in this world. It's one of the only places that Darien, the 100, cannot reach their grubby little fingers to. We must get there.
If the old man in the wheelchair told us to go, they're expecting us to be there. I don't think we should go.
Well, do you want to stay here? I
didn't say we had to stay here. I just don't think we should go there. We're walking into a trap.
Oh, but you forget.
Us, it's the only safe place.
There is another option. Another place that might be safe.
What's that place? Tell us about that place, please.
There is the Tower of Olderheim. It's a lodge of mages to the northwest. whereas Arkhamberry is to the southwest. Alderheim, the mages there, they are cloistered, secluded. They do have power, and I know that not many believe that true mages walk in this world, but they do, and they are there. They may be able to help protect you, whatever goals you have.
I'm much more apt to go to Alderheim. That's my 2 cents. And you can't tell me that I'm wrong, because it's smart.
I feel like Tom is going to have a different opinion on this.
It's a choice between going to the Crows in Arkenbury and Alderheim.
The reason why we're going to Arkenheim is why I would like to go to Arkenheim is because the old man.
Arkenbury or Alderheim?
I want to go to Alderheim. That's my vote, because Arkenbury is where the old man told us to go. And if he's a liar and a sower of discord, they're going to expect us when they're going there and lay a huge trap and wipe us all out. And I ain't looking to die. So let's go somewhere else where they're not expecting us.
You know
what if that's just what I want you to think?
No, I don't think. Wow. I think Gattle's right. I don't want to be going to Arkenbury if the old man Darian said that we should be going there. And it's all that magic shite. No offense, everyone, but Alderheim's where normal people are. And they may not be good people, but at least they're normal people. We know what we're dealing with there, and it's something that we can fight. We can hide from. Magic, you can't even hide from it. From what I've seen.
You did hear him say that Alderheim is the Tower of Mages, right?
No, I wasn't listening. I was away.
I need to get back in this world. Pay attention.
He did say that there's a lodge, a lodge of mages that basically that, you know, despite the rumors and the disbelief, there are people with magic in this world, and some of them are there, and they might be able to protect them.
I don't believe that. You crows maybe something, but if old Adarian said for us to go to Arkenbury, I don't think that's a good idea. This Alderheim may or may not have mages, but it certainly doesn't have as much witchcraft as I've heard Arkenbury does.
All right,
no offense,
so
you've been stitched up here with your mouth shut for coming from Arkenbury. I don't want to end up like you.
Here's my take. So, outsider aside, we got 2 people voting and 2 people who have yet to vote. And if it ends up being a tie, I say you guys, one of you 2, arm wrestle Tom, and then the winner gets to choose.
Well, so that's a magic item to one of the party from Mr. Pokey. Thank you for it.
Well, I feel
let's roll a 1d4. I'll roll it here. We'll say 1 Will, 2 Bill, 3 Jack, 4 Speedy. All right.
Works well.
So I'll bring that into play here in a bit. Thank you, Mr. Pokey. At this point, the crow of the deep will sort of lean off of the wall, and he looks like he's getting his footing back a little bit, still moving a little slowly. He's old. And say, well, it does not matter which way we go. The first thing we must do is get out of this tunnel and get to the end. Once we're there, we can all go in different directions for all I care. I will go to Arkenbury because I must. You can go to Alderheim or Harcoast or the Marshlands, wherever you wish. But let us at least get out of this tunnel, please.
Agreed.
Seems fair that this... Yeah, this air is beginning to make my bones ache anyway.
All right, then.
As a group, we continue onward.
Lead the way, Crow of the Deep.
And he will if you ask him to lead the way. He's slow, and he doesn't seem to know where he's going. He's trepidatious, maybe even more so than some of you. You get the sense that he's both tired and scared. The underground trek through the tunnel is dark, it's wet, it's dripping with sewage or something like sewage that smells. You travel about an hour through this tunnel. Eventually, not far in after the curve of the tunnel, the torches stop and you are in the dark with only your own light. Rats scurry between your feet. Lots of rats, in fact.
Go down there.
As you get towards further into the tunnel, without sort of seeing any light at the end of it, you eventually start to smell something else. And this is at first faint, then unbearable. It is the smell of rot, some new, some older, but just an overwhelming stench of death as you press further down the tunnel. And you have to stop for a moment and sort of check yourselves and decide what you want to do. Do you continue or do you turn back?
I'm afraid of a little
This is awful. I've been in some slums. This is way worse than slums. This is bad. He's going to Gatto's going to break off a piece of bread from one of his pouches and then lift up some cloth on underneath his leather armor, shove the bread in there, and then put the cloth over his face so all he smells is the bread.
All right, so I'm gonna everyone make me a Constitution check, and Gatto, I will let you make it with advantage.
That one.
Oh yeah, that one for me as well.
I got 16 on one of them.
Yep.
Nice.
So you guys burn through one of your nat ones that you have up there, Hatchling and Tom, and Jack. You feel this too, not quite as bad. You feel the overwhelming urge to retch, and you're able to hold it down, but you have to stop for a moment. Gatto, your bread trick seems to work. Or maybe you know, you just don't have as much going on in your stomach right now as the other guys. Tom and Allie, you are forced to vomit, and it's probably grossest for the Hatchling Crow. Honestly, you have that mask on, right?
Yeah. I want to say that she, like, similarly to how the Crow of the Deep kind of half took off his mask, she does the same, but like some of it still gets on the inside a little bit. And as she does so, as the mask is like somewhat ripped off from her face, like not only is she vomiting, but you see her start to just like panic, and just like her breathing goes like incredibly fast and tight, and like until she's finished retching and has the mask back on, she has a hard time just like collecting herself.
Gatto reaches forward to her, kind of pats her on the shoulder and like rubs her back a little bit so she calms down, and then breaks off another chunk of bread and gives it to her, and like without saying anything, like crouches down to make eye contact and shows her how to do the same thing without saying anything.
She doesn't say anything back, but seems to appreciate it.
Ye old bread trick. It takes you guys, a while to sort of get yourselves together. But are you continuing on?
We got to keep moving. We can't go back. It's another hour.
So anyway,
the smell of rot from ahead grows stronger, and you get to a point in this tunnel where you finally begin to see the bodies. At first, it's a couple of strewn out bodies, all nude, all naked. in various states of decay, but then it's a pile, and it's a pile that you have to climb over. Do you continue?
Oh dear. How terrible.
Do we, with just seeing it, do we even know if climbing over will lead us to where we're supposed to go? Can we see anything?
Roll me a perception check.
Alrighty.
So, yes, at first you think that it's just more darkness ahead, but then you see something reflect in the distance, a silver light. It reminds you of moonlight. Not that far ahead.
I thought all the times I heard light at the end of the tunnel as a metaphor, I never thought I'd appreciate it until I saw it in real life. But look, there's moonlight.
Right. Get the breath free. So I realize I am more and more doing Mel Gibson's Braveheart voice. Immediately takes Tom back to his childhood where he found his family slaughtered in the log cabin or whatever the fuck it was. And he will grimly begin to pull his way up from the corpse pile.
Before he does that, can I just look at the bodies and check if they have signs of the plague?
Absolutely. Roll me a medicine check.
They go up. It was a 15 plus 6.
Not all of the bodies, but a good deal of the bodies do seem like they have the signs of the plague. Some of them, in fact, are so noticeable that you can see the telltale streaks of bloody tears as though their eyes themselves begin to bleed, or even their pores in their face begin to bleed. The plague was definitely
Tom.
here.
Tom, don't start climbing yet. All of these bodies have the plague, or most of them. Enough that you don't want to be touching them with your bare hands. Everyone, cover your faces with masks. I pull out a pouch that I have on my side with some herbs in it. And I say, put this inside. Doesn't necessarily prevent it, but it's the closest thing we have.
Hold on.
Cover your hands with cloths if you don't have gloves already.
I have a very gross, but very cool idea. What if we took the bodies that we know don't have the plague and stacked them over the ones that do have the plague to make a kind of normal dead person ladder instead of a blood plague dead person ladder? Hmm?
Gatto, make me an intelligence saving throw.
Oh, cool. You had to pick that stat.
Well, that's a saving throw as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, you said saving throw or ability
Doesn't
check?
matter. You're sure this idea is great. This is gold.
Guys, this is a really great idea.
Listen, Gatto, I gotta tell you, while I appreciate the ingenuity, there are too many bodies with the plague here, and even if I could identify which ones do and don't with ease, the disease is probably spread to most of them just by their blood at this point. And moving the ones that do have the plague, or that don't have the plague, would make you contact the ones that do. It's best to just climb over as quickly as possible and try and...
And the longer we're in this room, the worse for us all.
All right.
See what the kid says.
That was my idea. I'm spent on ideas.
I think that the hatchling crow, she's got the right idea. We've already been exposed to whatever's down here, and we have to keep going.
Was everyone ready then?
Yeah, let's do this.
It is all ever be.
Walk forward, and I just start climbing.
The smell of rot from the great pile of deceased men and women is overwhelming, but you do climb over these bodies, more and more bodies, and once in a while you find yourselves falling through and having to pull yourselves back up. One body will tumble into the next and move in such a way that for a moment you think maybe some of these dead men and women are alive, but they're not. They're just ragdolls being moved around like flesh sacks as you climb over them. People who had families and children, and people who had lives, and you put them behind you. Once you're past the pile, you find yourselves at the end of a tunnel. A simple but heavy metal portcullis blocks the way to the countryside beyond, giving you a glimpse of a moonlit world just beyond the gate. At a glance, the gate doesn't seem to have any sort of locking mechanism, but there are two dead men, as naked as the rest of the corpses, that smother the tunnel. Each of them, their skeletal hands stretching through the portcullis, forever frozen in their last desperate moments of trying to get out. And another larger dead man stands before the gate. He's somewhat different than the others. His body is still adorned in clothing, a tatter of gray robes, and he's slumped forward against a halberd. This is the same sort of weapon that you would know that many of the Knights of the 100 use.
This seems a little fishy. That guy should have fallen down.
Yeah. Not much of us has seemed good still, to be fair.
It's a quarantine. This man was making sure no one else got out to spread the plague.
They
Why
should
is he
have
still standing?
burned the bodies, though. Why didn't they burn the bodies?
Yeah, that's something they should have done.
Maybe they didn't know.
Maybe we should burn them.
Perhaps they were put here for a reason, instead of being burned.
Maybe we're thinking into it a wee bit much, you know. They just forgot. Maybe they didn't want to burn their dead friends or something, I don't know.
As you stand there discussing, this, you feel a wind whip through the tunnel, and something in the air changes. You feel the hairs on the nape of your neck begin to prickle upward. It begins with a subtle sound like the rustling of dry leaves. You look back for a moment to the congregation of carrion behind you, and that's when you see that the cadavers are moving. The dead things you just climbed over begin to squirm and writhe like a single organism, a pulping mass. And suddenly, the gate leading out to Arkenberry Forest rattles. The three corpses there pull themselves up and turn to stare at you with lifeless eyes. And the robed revenant picks up a masquerade mask from the dirt and wears it over his worm-eaten face. Masquerade, masked figure, points at you with the blade of his halberd, and the two other naked dead men who were reaching through the gate just a moment ago, frozen in their death throes, break into a reckless sprint towards you.
Get ready, get ready, get ready!
And Gatto is going to draw his rapier, glance over at Tom to see what Tom's doing.
He's drawing a sword, and limbering his shield, and is similarly, calling a shout for on my side. As he's not sure what these things are, but it's sort of like a default mode, I guess, to go to is sees people coming to kill him.
Yeah,
not to protest it too much.
Finian is going to kind of reach into his coat and begin reaching for some different components and all, kind of eyeing the the big, massive corpses that are beginning to move. They say, "We have to get to the gate."
Yeah, shout to the hold him off.
The Crow of the Deep does step forward, and he draws from within his robes a rapier of his own, and his shoulders slump forward. You hear a tired sigh escape his lips, and he says, These are the work of a Darien. We must push through. And I would like at this point everybody to go ahead and roll me some initiative.
About 10,000 tabs, so I'm sorry. Let's see, it's 16.
My check's not showing up.
If you
I didn't
roll
see
it, make sure to
yours,
roll
no.
it in the dice roller rather than off into the side. The left-hand side for the dice in there, otherwise it doesn't count them.
Great. Perfect.
Fantastic. All right, so we'll do this. All right, so first up, as these two naked dead men are sprinting towards you, their bodies mostly rotted away, mostly skeletal, but still some scraps of flesh hanging on to their bodies. Their eyes dull and empty of any kind of emotion or life. They're running towards the front of the group, and it's the hatchling Crow who has the opportunity to move first.
Yeah. I see these things starting to rise, and immediately I have one hand on my sickle, and I think better of it and pull out my mace instead, knowing that this is not a time for mercy, it is a time for murder, the time to destroy. And I rush forward and swing at them, at the first one that's closest.
All right.
And I nat one.
That's probably
really?
wise. That's probably wise. So as you step forward, stepping to the front of your line, right beside Tom, and these two men are driving towards you, there's a hand on the ground, a skeletal hand, dispossessed of its body, but still moving, and it reaches up and grabs your ankle. And even as you're preparing to thrust with your rapier, you find yourself tripping, and it pulls you prone onto the ground, unable to attack. Anything else?
Nope.
It's the figure with a halberd, the one that's in tattered robes, the one that seemed to be pointing towards you, almost seems to be some sort of leadership figure, strides forward. Even as the other two break towards your line, they stop, and for a moment they part. And he, with the reach of his halberd, says, "More fleshy parts for the heartless man. Blessed be the plagued." Behind you, the writhing mass, this pulping mass that seems to be moving, squirming, their voices rise too in a ghoulish chorus. "Blessed be the plagued." And then he levels his weapon, and at the prone hatchling Crow before him, he swings with his halberd. Let's see, how does a 14 do for you? 14 versus your AC.
That will miss.
All right. And so he actually misses twice. Oh, wait, no, I'm wrong. You're prone. He has advantage on you. He misses his first attack, but he will have a 23 to hit on his second attack. So he brings the halberd down twice in a row. And the second one will hit you for 12 piercing damage as it strikes the back of your shoulder. You feel the blade cutting into your flesh. Next up, we have Finian.
Okay, what is going on with the big mass of moving corpses behind us? Are they starting to like get up and like come towards us, or what's their kind of situation?
What seems strange to you at the moment is that they seem to be moving and undulating in a way that is almost like they're a single organism. You're not sure what they're capable of yet, but roll me a perception check.
Okay, perception coming up. Okay, it's an 18.
That's pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, you do see that a couple of them seem to be breaking away from the others. They're crawling towards you. That they're not following the same synchronized motion as the rest.
Okay, and how far is it from us to where that big mass of them is?
Oh, a matter of 20 feet. They're close.
Okay. So what Finian is going to do, he's going to reach in and he's going to pull out this this heaping sack of some type of powder that he has. And he's going to quickly light this sack, and then he's going to throw it kind of up into the space where we climbed from, trying to get it kind of to the other side of them, but still have this thing detonate as he is casting a fireball spell right at this big mass of corpses. Trying to keep us out of range because it's 20 foot. Okay,
yeah,
so...
I won't make you... Yeah, I won't make... There's no... They're going to fail their saving throw. So just go ahead and roll me damage.
All right. There's 26 points of damage.
Yeah, so you will see and hear the results of this exploding bomb that you've thrown into the midst of this writhing pile. Screams of the undead. That rotting smell returns, but now it's burning as bodies flaming fall limp to the ground. Others begin to rush from the pile in chaotic directions into each other, and it's pure chaos. It's almost as though you had dropped a bomb on an innocent group of people for a moment.
Yeah, and Finian watches this, and normally he'd be very pleased with himself, knowing that this is his favorite concoction, but seeing this result and all, he just can't help but just frown, and even like a little tear kind of wells up at just how sick this all is.
Next up, Tom, you've just heard this explosion behind you. You see the chaos behind you. You see these rushing figures coming towards you now, and the hatchling on the ground.
Yeah, I think he's felt like a, Tom's probably seen. He's probably met several cavalry charges as an infantryman, and like felt that fear as they're charging in the trample of hooves. And the waiting, but this is worse in so many ways as like living nightmares come to charge at him, and I think he doesn't really believe in magic, like he kind of does, right? But I think he sees this in some kind of way, this like existential dread of this being some kind of penance for having killed people, because he certainly has like a guilt for having fought and murdered people and known that they've, family members have died, even if he thought he was on the right side. So he's sort of going through this bit of psychological torture here, and then seeing the hatchling crow fall down to the ground, that is his sort of, moment of clarity, and he's he's going to come in and sort of just step into the space across from the crow over. You said there was the creature of the halberd, and he's going to kind of check in with the shield and just enter into the space to give the hatchling crow some breathing room and some time to get up. And he's going to attack the undead creature. And
so, as you step in, the figure with the halberd shifts back. You recognize, as a former infantryman, the expertise of this movement. It's the movement of a person who has met a cavalry charge of their own, and using his sentinel action, he's going to take a reaction to try to attack you as you move in with his range.
Okay.
That is a 2. So he fails. So he swings. You almost feel it brush the edge of your armor as you close in, but you are able to approach him and get within range.
Okay. Yes, so I'm going to multi-attack. So let's see, a 21 to hit.
Oh, that's a hit.
Followed by a natural 1. That's good, but, so it's D8 plus math. Cool. So he takes, max damage, 11 points of slashing damage from the longsword as this tired, beaten, old-looking, but well-balanced and well-crafted blade slices its way across scatters itself across the flesh and the skeletal remains of this creature.
And it does catch him on his left arm, his back arm of the halberd, and you can feel the arm sort of tear away, old rotting muscle and bone snapping back away. But with the follow through of your second attack, again, experienced, obviously either a warrior in life or a warrior in death, this figure pulls the haft of the halberd up to deflect your second blow, and then counterattacks with a driving of the haft straight towards your stomach, and he's going to try to hit you again. 13?
13's not a hit. I'm going to sort of, similarly to the move that he kind of pulled, I'm just going to parry it away with the longsword, and I'm going to shout down to the hatchling crow who's kind of at my feet, stand up! And, yeah.
All right.
Do this.
Gatto, you've seen all of this happen, and you've sort of been in the middle of this chaos. You've had a moment to think. Now you have a moment to act. What do you do?
Kind of like grits his teeth, but he looks over at the fledgling crow, the hatchling crow that's down, and Tom, and in a style that seems like they've done it before, he kind of walks behind Tom, kind of skirts to the side, and then with his rapier goes in for a sneak attack on the guy with the halberd with his rapier.
All right, go for it. Nat 1.
Oh, okay.
So he shifts with you as you move around one side of Tom. He shifts around the other side of Tom. Again, his footsteps are deft and experienced, and you just can't get the angle on him with your rapier that you want to get.
All right. Does anything else happen after that move?
Not yet.
Okay, and then I'd like to use my cunning action as a bonus action to take one step and disengage.
You disengage away from the 3 that are running towards you, including the halberd guy?
Yeah.
Okay. Back towards, in theory, Finian and the flaming pile of bodies.
Right. So,
great.
Popped over Tom, attempted, pop back.
It's at this point that the 2 nude corpses, having started their rush again, reach the front of the line, one of them will attack Tom, and one of them will attack the crow, who still not quite managed to get back up on their feet yet. And we'll do Tom first here. All right, 16?
16 is a hit.
All right. And then we'll just go ahead and do the crow here too. With advantage, 20.
Hits.
Oof.
So these guys, as they rush towards you, clambering towards you, rip at your flesh wherever they can. If it's your face, because that's all that's exposed and unarmored, that's what they'll go for. If it's that same spot that you just got wounded in your back with a halberd, digging their fingers into it, and you'll take 4 damage apiece. And with that,
Finian, get us out of here.
We're back up to the top. You have this naked undead thing on you, digging its fingers into your back, Allie. What do you do?
I try and just push it off of me and push myself off the ground. And I quickly take out my water skin and I just open it and put in powder from a pouch. And it's basically lye, and I shake it up really fast, and I basically just try and splash it on every single one of these things, as mechanically I'm casting Turn Undead.
Fantastic. All right.
Or Destroy Undead if they're half, CR1 half or lower.
Yes. So this is going to affect the 3 of the creatures in front of you. So as you spray this, and describe one more as you're throwing it, what effect does this have on them?
So it's basically like a terrible chemical burn where, like, I mean, a human would not do great to it, but because they're creatures of disease and rot, like they have open wounds, it's basically like sizzling into their skin, and all they can kind of do is just sort of just flee. Like all they can do is like instinctually try and get away from it.
So the one that's on top of you, the one that you're fighting with, it takes most of this chemical from you. And that's the one that it's completely destroyed. You can feel that its bones and muscles are melting away at this chemical. It almost collapses in on you, and you feel the weight of this adult body fall against you, even as you're continuing to try to continue to spray this and throw this chemical on the others. Go ahead, and I want you to roll me, let's call it an athletics check. So with the strength that belies your age, you are able to keep this collapsing pile of recently undead, now dead again, flesh off of you. You turn it aside. The other of the naked figures does stop, touched and burned by your chemical, and it begins to turn around and run the other way. The figure with the halberd does not seem affected. Anything else you'd like to do?
Right. Nope. Blessed are the plague, my ass.
And now it's the halberd undead masked figure again. He's turned his attention now away from Allie and towards Tom, and steps back, disengaging just enough to take a longer reach swing at him twice with his halberd. It's going to be 2 hits with the halberd. So expertly whipping the blade around once and then bringing the blade down overhead a second time. You're going to get hit twice unless you have some sort of magic to avoid 24.
No, I do not. I'm not a
And that'll be
human scum.
24 piercing damage.
Oh, okay. All right.
How's Tom looking?
Really, really wounded, very close to death. I think it's sort of the I think it's a run across like the belly, where he just sort of gets opened up and where his arm is kind of weak, and he just and it's not really like a loud yelp of death. It's just that kind of low, quiet. It's like you're just really hurting and you're stumbling to like even process the pain. So he's barely conscious at this point.
As the plagued night resets, the Crow of the Deep in his blue barnacled mask rushes over as quickly as his old legs can to Tom's side. He has some sort of, it looks like an herb concoction. It's mixed with some sort of liquid and herbs, and he's unquaffed it. He's pulled the stopper off, and he's holding it up to you. And he says, "You have to drink this. Drink this. I know you don't trust us, but right now, we have to make it through." And he offers you the bottle.
Yeah, he's barely able to really function, and he being so close to death, he just does as he's told, unable to really understand what he's saying to him. He hears "drink this," and he'll down it in one.
And as you drink the potion, you feel some sort of energy. You don't know if it's a drug. You're not sure what this experience is, but it's a rush of adrenaline. And your heart is beating faster in your chest. And the old man grips you on the shoulder and says, "Clear the way, Tom. Clear the way." And you will regain 8 hit points.
Whew. Okay, he's feeling a lot better for that. He just kind of nods. I will.
And then we have Finian.
Okay, Finian is going to kind of run up and get near the one with the halberd, and he's going to pull a kind of vial of this kind of nasty-looking green liquid that is on his belt and kind of shake it up real fast, and then pop the cork and throw it on it, and he's going to cast Acid Splash against that target. And so it's going to need to make a DC 14 Dexterity saving throw to avoid the damage.
DC 14, you said?
Yes.
Let's see how he does. He fails.
Alright, so that is going to be damage. Okay, so that is 3 acid damage as this acid is like thrown in his face, and it burns a little bit.
Can't tell if he likes it or dislikes it. You can't tell if that was pleasure or pain. Maybe a little bit of both.
Well, that's creepy.
All right.
We should really get out of here.
When the enemies get a little bit turned on by you fighting them, it's time to go, I think.
Kink shaming him.
Acid's his kink, yeah. And speaking of, Tom, it's your turn.
Yes. As I hear, clear the way, and I'm not sure, Tom isn't sure what this is, but he feels like it's it's his second wind, really. He is going to use the second wind, to heal for a, what is it, D8? There you go. 7 again. So, like, kind of re-emboldened by this moment to catch his breath and this moment to gather his strength, his determination is reborn, and he charges forward towards the halberd-wielding undead to deliver it an attack. I do have multi-attack. That's the other thing that we can bring up here. I think it's relevant at this point. It's a 23 to hit. So I think the first attack sort of he's like overconfident. He's like, oh, okay, I can totally do this now. And he just like stumbles over the dead body of one of the other creatures and then finds the strike, which is a D8. Unless you got something else, sir? Oh, it's 11 points of damage. Keep rolling max
11 points of damage. So simultaneously, because I noticed that nat 1 that you rolled, as you come in and trip, you do manage to drive your blade through him with that second attack, but at the same time, he brings his halberd around and you simultaneously strike each other. How do you do against 16 versus your AC?
16 is dead on, yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be 12 more piercing damage.
Ooh, just well, I got all that healing in before I did that. So like, oh man, this is rough for Tom right now. He's been like pierced several times, and then he's like healed up, and he's like, I can do this. And then he charges in and gets slammed with a halberd at the same time, and is close to dead again. He's not out yet, but he's close.
And Tom, before we end your turn, go ahead and make me a perception check. Let's call it a perception check.
Okay, perception just +1. 18.
This creature doesn't really seem to be that hurt yet. It doesn't seem to be slowing down, even though you've struck it with a couple of blows that would kill a normal man. And it's already drawing back, preparing to strike again. And next up we have Gatto.
So, depending on the fate of the gods, Gatto's going to leap to Tom's aid at his flank and kind of take a side lunge with his rapier, try to like up into his, like from a low strike up into his torso.
Yeah, I'll let you roll this time.
It's so empowering for you, isn't it? $17.
Yeah, that's definitely a hit.
All right. So we got that plus sneak attack damage, which I couldn't figure out how to implement, so I'll just roll separately. And here's first sneak attack, second sneak attack, third sneak attack.
All right.
21 total.
21 total damage. So, and Tom will have noticed this too, that a moment ago you thought that maybe this creature can't die. You've never seen a creature like this, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. Then Gatto drives his blade upward into what might have been once the creature's heart. Maybe the heart is still there, not beating. And the thing slumps forward against the rapier, almost loses its halberd. It almost drops from its dead fingers, but then it grabs the rapier with its offhand, and flesh tearing away, it pulls itself free from the blade. But it is hunched over. It does look like that hurt it.
It always hurts.
Speaking of hurting,
and then hold up. Uno momento, por favor. I'm going to use cunning action to disengage. Take 5 feet step back.
Okay. You're leaving Tom in between the two of you again. It's at this point, a turn later, after the chaos of the fire has died down a little bit, that exploding from this writhing mass behind you, these burning bodies, are 4 of them that don't seem to be burning. They don't seem to have been affected by the fire. Or maybe the bodies that were on top of them took the heat of the blast, and they crawl. If you've ever seen if you've ever seen the Moria scene from Fellowship of the Ring, which I'm sure you all have, they're like that, where they're crawling over the walls, they're skittering almost on 4 legs, they're fast, and they're coming towards the back of the line. Right now, that is Finian, and that is Gatto, and that is the Crow. The Crow of the Deep, specifically. And I'm sorry, no, it's the Hatchling Crow, Finian, and the Crow of the Deep. And 2 of them are going to attack Finian, 1 on each of the other one of you.
Okay. As they go to attack Finian, he's gonna see them kind of coming at him, and he reaches out onto his pack and pulls out and kind of slings out this like pot lid from like his cooking pot, and he is in this world casting the shield spell to raise his AC. For this match, he has a +5 bonus to AC using his reaction. Yeah, +5 using his reaction.
Yep. All right, so one of them will hit the Crow of the Deep. This last attack is going to be on the Hatchling. 15?
Nope.
So you're able to stave off this undead creature that's springing towards you. How about a 16 and a 15 for Finian? Do either of those hit you with your shield on?
Those actually both hit it. The 15 exactly.
All right, so despite your shield, despite this contraption, they're breaking through ferocious, and they're clawing at your face, they're clawing at your hands, anything they can get their fingers on. You will take 8 piercing damage, or 8 slashing damage.
8 slashing, got it.
It's at this point that we are back to the Hatchling. It is your turn.
Seeing that more of these are just coming, and that any number could break free of the writhing mass at any point, I think she's just going to turn and run towards the gate and try to get it open.
As you race towards the gate, the sentinel reach of the halberd-wielding undead creature will be able to reach you, and it will use its reaction to attack you here. And I'm going to go ahead and use my nat 20, because I can.
Ouch.
Unless anybody has anything they can do to stop this from happening. So it's been honing in on Tom, it's been fighting Tom, but when it sees the little crow running towards the gate, it pivots, and it's almost like batter up. It takes the length of the halberd, and it swings it down and low directly at what you imagine might be Allie's neck beneath that chainmail. And it will deal 22 slashing damage. Still up. It also forces your movement to reduce to 0, and you are still within 10 feet of its range. But you still have your action. So it catches you and it stops you.
Okay. Would opening the gate take an action?
You'd have to get to the gate, and you're not there yet.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
you can imagine it would take an action. Yeah, the sentinel attack stopped you from being able to get to the gate.
Okay. So I'm going to look at Tom, who's also not doing so great. And I'm going to go ahead and take out this pack with lie in it still, and I'm going to look at that deep gash on his stomach, and I'm just gonna say, "This is gonna hurt," and pour it on the wound. And it hurts like hell. It sizzles, it burns, but the wound is sealed almost instantly, and cauterized, essentially. As I cast Cure Wounds.
It's so much like fucking happening on Tom right now, and he just doesn't get it.
Poor Tom.
Semi-delirious.
That's 1d8 plus my spellcasting modifier. Is wisdom plus proficiency? That would be a 2 plus 6, so 8. You heal for 8. And then I'm going to use my bonus action to preemptively spray some of the lye on myself to basically try and ward that thing off from attacking me as I cast Sanctuary on myself. So it has to make a wisdom save to attack me.
Fantastic. All right. And what's your DC, just out of curiosity?
Good question. I don't know.
I think it's safe to say the DC is 47.
Yeah, I agree.
Average state
That's in the
number.
rules. I only ask because it is now the Plague Knight's turn, and twirling its blade, despite how ragged it looks after Gatto's strike, it is going to swing first at Tom. And then it's going to try to swing at Allie as well, if it can make its wisdom check, its wisdom save. So Tom, 17, which will be 12 slashing damage.
How much did Ali heal me for?
8.
8.
That puts me on 1 HP. Okay, I'm good.
Wow. The second attack will come at Allie. First, it makes its wisdom saving throw, which is going to be... I think it fails. That's an 11.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure what the number is, but it's definitely higher than 11.
That's definitely higher than 11, right?
So on a failed save, it gets to choose a new target or lose the attack.
It chooses Tom.
Sorry, Tom.
So it turns towards the hatchling crow, and this chemical that it protected yourself with does kind of repel it, and it thinks twice. It's already been burned by this thing once a little bit, and so instead it turns back on Tom. It sighs before it swings.
Woo!
The 6.
Ooh.
You're able to dodge this one and get out of the way.
Yikes.
That brings us back to the crow. You guys have these 4 creatures on the back of you now, more threatening to break away from the writhing pack at any second. The crow is going to take 2 swings
right now. By the way, like that deflect was like, you know when somehow Boromir just like fucking throws his sword out and deflects the Urukai
That's right.
blade.
Like, it
How
already-
the fuck did he do that? He just fucking froze it out. That's what Tom's doing right now.
It already went to slow motion.
Mastery.
It's just-
They already played the sad music. How is he still doing this?
right.
Well, I guess we're
The crow-
casting Sean Bean for the Frank Cloaks movie.
I'm like in 10 FPS right now. Yeah.
The old crow, the crow of the deep, with his rapier, tries to thrust twice, and it just can't seem to break this creature that's on top of him away enough to actually get the leverage he needs to actually strike. So he's kind of locked up with this thing, unable to do too much. Then we have Finian.
Okay, Finian wants to attempt that same run to the other gate, realizing we have to get out of here.
All right.
So how do you want to do that?
So you're gonna try to run past the plagued knight.
Yeah, so attempt to
Right.
get to the other
And you
gate on
have-
the other side.
You're gonna take 2 attacks of opportunity from the 2 creatures that are on top of you.
Okay. Can I use my
that'll
disengage action to break off of that?
Yes, yeah, you absolutely can. That'll be your action.
Yeah.
You won't be able to get the gate up this turn if you get there, but you'll
That's
be able to
fine.
get to the gate. Okay. And then
Okay.
you'll have to avoid the Plague Knight's reach halberd sentinel attack. Its reaction as you try to run past it.
Okay, yeah, let's try it. What's the worst that can happen? That's the worst that can
That's the
happen.
worst thing that can happen.
Got it.
Oh my god.
I play with DS.
It's actually the worst.
So Finian set the blazing pile of corpses on fire. He's been spectacular, and he makes his dash as quick as his old man legs can take him to the gate. But again, this halberd wielding undead thing on its last limbs maybe takes a step back away from Tom, turns, pivots, and brings its blade straight down. It comes straight down on the top of the skull of Finian. It is perfectly timed as he's running past. 22 slashing damage.
Tom would be very proud as I am at 1 HP.
And you are
Incredible.
stopped. You're stopped by the sentinel attack, and your movement is reduced to 0. You have spent your action, so unless you can do something with a bonus action, turn is over.
No, I'm saving that if I need it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm good to go.
All right, Tom, you're still standing.
I don't know how. It's creature still in my face with a halberd, and I do not appreciate it. Anyway, as I said, take out my buddy Finian and almost cripple him as well. I'm gonna go for the throat on a 19.
That is a...
4 points of damage.
He is still up. You do tear part of his head away from the rest of it, so his head, masked, falls backwards, flopping towards his spine, but he's still standing and he's still wielding his halberd.
15 to hit.
15 is a hit.
As I yell, freedom! No. 6 points of damage on his face.
And you shatter the mask on his face and falls away. You could see the worm-eaten flesh beneath, partially shredded by the force of your blow. He's staggered and falls back to the wall. And then he starts to topple forward, toppling towards the ground, catches himself with a halberd, and starts to pull himself back up again. He's not down yet. Now,
Oh my god! Fucking die! I scream at him. Stay
He's still-
fucking dead!
are you staying up in his face? Are you running? What are you doing now?
I stay behind. I look towards the kid, Ali, and to the others and say, "Go! I'll hold them up."
All right.
Gem song and nat 20 attack for next body. Woo! Thank you, buddy. I need that.
Gatto, it is now your turn.
Okay, so we still have the same formation, right? And Gatto's thinking, man, I did sweet last time. So he's going to bolster Tom up and like crouch out from the left side again, and then
Nat 1.
go right.
Which I will let cancel out the nat 20 we were just gifted.
Okay, well, still right.
So I'll let you roll this. This will be a roll, but this will use the nat 1 and the nat 20.
Oh yes.
That is a hit.
Damn right it is. And then plus 3d6 sneak attack. $19 damage.
How do you want to do this?
All right, so I come from Tom's left side, lunge, and then right where my fist is, like right in his skull, just right with the rapier, and then shake it around Just because you never know, yank it back out. And then, because he can't smile, so he's just got all grit.
The blade, as it goes through the back of his mouth, through the back of his skull, which has already been partially torn away by Tom's severing attack, drives the flesh away from the spine. And as you pull your blade back, his head, still moving, still writhing, is perched on the edge of your blade. His head still somehow alive despite everything. But his body falls before you. The halberd clinks as it drops to the ground, bouncing off the rocky wall.
All right, I'm gonna, realizing what just happened, take my cunning action and sprint towards the gate to try to work on the lock. So how far away is the gate from where we're?
It's about 30 feet. It's not too far. You can get there, but you have used your action, so you can't do anything once you get there. Not yet.
Right. Cool. So I'll take my cunning action to dash to the gate.
All right. You are able to get to the gate, and it's at this point that 4 more these bodies flaming break away from the writhing pile. Now 8 of them. Charging, scrambling around the walls, leaping over each other to try to get at you. They are all coming to attack, and they're attacking the back of the line first. That now is mostly the Crow of the Deep. Behind the Crow of the Deep, you have Finian and the Hatchling and Tom. So I'm going to give the maximum number to the Crow, which is 3. They will attack him first. And surprisingly, he's able to fend them off, the 3 attackers that are on him. Somehow with his blade, despite his age, he moves with a grace that trips the undead creatures up. There are 5 more, and I'm going to send 3 at... Let's see, who's furthest in the back? I mean, I think at this point, it's probably Tom. So I'll send 3, 2, and 2. So I think that's 2 hits on Tom for a total of 8 damage.
Tom goes down.
Ooh. And I'm using shield again this round.
All right. I mean, one of them is going to be a natural 20 against Finian, and the other one is going to be a 22.
Those are both going to hit, so...
That
the
is
first
going
one's
to
guaranteed
be...
to get put down unless if it one-shots.
That's going to be a total of 10 slashing damage.
Okay, yeah, he is... So he went down on the first hit, and then the second hit is going to give him one fail.
It's going to give him a critical fail. It's going to actually be 2 death saving throw fails. Because he is unconscious.
Alrighty. So I have 2 fails.
And
That's
then...
a crit success, by the way, for a next attack on us. Oh no, next attack by a PC. By a PC. Ooh,
by a PC.
That's one
good.
word, but a whole lot different, right?
The Crow of the Deep is going to use his reaction to try to stop one of the 2 remaining creatures from getting to Alley. So as they run past and he's fending off his 3, he will use his opportunity attack and try to take out one of these creatures. Let's see how that does. That's their ACs. That is a hit. Let me roll this. So 6 and 6. They have 12. They have 12 hit points. That's really good. He does. One of these creatures is almost on top of the hatchling crow, and despite holding back these three, he manages to lean back and drive his blade into the back of this creature's head, and it drops right before your feet, Allie. The other remaining creature rushing towards you does reach you and will attack. Let's see. Do I have any nat 20s left? I don't. No. I will roll this. It was meant to be, as it trips over the body of the other creature, the one that the Crow of the Deep just killed, and falls at your feet, partially trapped beneath the weight of the other undead. And the crow, barnacled mask, staring at you, says, "You must go on. You must warn them all at Arkhamberry."
Do my best. My turn?
It is your turn.
Fuck. Alright. If I were to pick up Finian, would that be an action? Or is it just half movement while I'm carrying him?
I'm going to say to pick him up, because you're 14 and wearing chainmail, is going to require a couple of things. It's going to require, I won't say an action, I'll say a bonus action, but it's going to require for you to drag him towards the gate at your half speed. I want an athletics check.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I'll say that's enough to, get him underneath the arms and pull him through. Now you are half speed, so that's only 15 feet. You will have to use a dash if you want to make it to the gate this turn.
Yeah, I'll dash.
Anyone who witnesses this, which is not Tom, Tom is buried under a pile of bodies, will see, so this is maybe Gatto, if you look over your shoulder, this is the Crow of the Deep, will see the hatchling show sort of strength that you didn't know maybe she was capable of. Now, she will be attacked twice by the two undead creatures that were on top of Finian as you try to pull Finian away from these two undead. How many hit points is she at?
2.
GG,
you got a nat 1 still, just for the record. Just throwing that out there.
I do? Oh, I couldn't see that the entire time.
Oh, yeah.
My bar was covering it. I'm gonna roll this because I want to know. I want to see.
Okay.
You're carrying Finian one last act, maybe your last act of altruism, heroism, believing that maybe there's a better future if you stand together, help your friends. But it's that he's slowing you down. And in that moment, one of the creatures jumps on top of you and sinks its teeth into your neck. And you begin to feel the light eat away at your eyes as you too fall to the ground, just a short distance away from the gate. The Crow of the Deep, whose turn it is now, pushes away from the three that are on top of him. He's still looking pretty healthy at this point. And he's going to take 3 opportunity attacks. He only gets hit once. He's still standing. He will take 2 more opportunity attacks from the 2 that just attacked you, Allie. And he seems to dance with a lithe movement as he's avoiding their blows. He's able to reach you. He's able to reach Finian. And he has another one of those potions in his hand. But he can only pick one. And the crows are necessary. And he tears the mask up from your face and gets the liquid into your mouth, and it's like being shot in the heart with adrenaline. It's like a Pulp Fiction moment. You start up. You gain 8 hit points.
How many?
8 hit points. 8. And he pushes you 5 feet away from him towards the gate. And he says, "Go, it's not too late. I'll hold them off just a little while longer." And he spins around, weapon out, ready for the onslaught of creatures racing after him. You are back up on your feet. Tom, who learned some things about himself maybe he didn't know before, accepted magic friends into his heart.
A little bit.
A little bit. He had a hell of a last stand, but anyone who's witnessing this watches as these 2 creatures, 3 creatures that took him down, tear him apart. They rip open his stomach, get their hands beneath his armor in places where they can, and begin to take his entrails out from his body and to their lips. Tom, you wake up for a moment. You're aware of what's happening for a terrible moment before you fade back into the darkness. What do you do in that moment?
I think he just reaches out a hand as he's dying towards, like, just above him, as though for a moment he's seeing something that he's only now been able to see, and it's not clear what that thing is, but he sees it for a second, reaches out to touch it, and then dies.
Tom dies experiencing one of the age-old mysteries. Is it truth? Do we make these things up in our minds? Is there something beyond this life? Maybe some of the rest of you will soon find the answers to that question as well. But first, we do have Gatto, and you are the gate.
Okay. So, there's me, there's Hatchling Crow, there's unconscious Finian, and there's two zombies.
Oh, there's 8 of them. There's 8 of them that are rushing. They're tripping over each other. The Crow of the Deep, the old crow, is trying to block them as well as he can.
How far away is the 8? And then how many are immediately nearby?
10 feet away from you is the Hatchling Crow, just waking up. 15 feet away from you is the old crow, standing with his back towards you, weapon ready, as 8 rush directly towards him, some already on top of him, some coming soon thereafter. And they do seem like they're able to scramble along the walls. You don't know if he can stop 8 of them. He's managed to hold them off so far, but there might be more coming behind those 8. There is a writhing, flaming horde.
Okay, so I'm going to reach into my pouch and pull out my burglar's kit, open up a pouch, like a moderately sized pouch with 1,000 ball bearings, and chuck it into the air in front of the old crow in the hopes that the ball bearings spread out in front of him and create a chaos landscape for anyone to walk on. And then
worst, oldest, best D&D tricks ever. You throw the ball bearings out over the rocky ground. They bounce and bounce. And then what?
Use my cunning action for quick hands for the thief trait to sleight of hand, pick the lock on the gate.
So it's not locked. There's actually no lock. You just have to lift it.
Oh,
how strong are you?
Well then, moderately strong. Let's find out how strong I am.
Let's go ahead and make me an athletics check.
All right. $15.
That is strong enough to get the gate up. You do know that if you go through it, it will close behind you.
Oh, so it's a lifty gate.
It's a lifty gate. It's a portcullis.
Okay. I'm gonna stand underneath it, ready to drop it if I have to, but I'm gonna hold the gate open.
All right.
And that's where I'm gonna end my turn.
You're He-Manning the gate up. That's the end of your turn.
Yeah,
Next up.
If I have to drop it, I can drop it.
Mm.
And then I'm gonna use a free action. Sorry, I gotta speak to
okay.
The Hatchling Crow. Hurry up, girl! This isn't gonna last forever.
I'm moving as fast as I can.
Okay. Next up, it is the horde of undead, and they are rushing. Finian, make me a death saving throw. Finian.
Thanks.
Finian, you begin to stir just for a moment, coughing up blood. You see more of these creatures rushing towards you. You're not able to move. It's like maybe your back is broken, something's wrong, you can't move your legs, and you know this is the end. What do you do? I think you're muted, buddy.
Sorry about that. As he kind of looks up, I imagine this is around maybe him kind of having seen, the young crow be saved by the older one. He'll kind of look up at the crow of the deep. As he's laying on the ground, the crow's kind of standing kind of over him, ready to face the horde. And he'll kind of cough a little bit of blood up, and then in a very hoarse and dying voice of an old man, he'll just whisper very softly, "Thank you." And then he will close his eyes and let go.
You let go, and whether it's a mercy or something else, you don't experience the pain of your death as these creatures fall on top of you and begin to tear you apart. The crow of the deep is going to try to hold them off, but I'm going to use my my last nat 1 on the crow of the deep for his opportunity attack. And as these things rush him, they find leverage over top, around, to the side, and finally he falters, he trips, his own rapier falls from his hand, and you see these things alley just 5 feet all on top of him and begin to tear him apart. One of their faces, undead faces, looks up at you from him forward, and one of these creatures is going to attack you before it's your turn. Only a 9. You're able to fend it off, scurry away, but you are watching this old crow die before you, and you see Gatto on the other side holding the gate open for you. It's your turn.
Thank you, Crow of the Deep. And I'm going to pour the little bit of lye that I have left on my wounds, all on my neck, just let it sear through as I cast Cure Wounds on myself and Sanctuary.
Just to be safe. So let's see. You've got two of them that can attack you. They're making wisdom saving throws. Let's see. 12. So I'm guessing a 12 doesn't save against you. I can't imagine it does. So they are unable to attack you. They hiss and pull away from you at the last moment and instead turn towards the Crow of the Deep. And it's these last two turning towards him that finish him off. And you're witness to this, but you do have a moment to run if you so wish.
I run. I don't look back. Let's go.
You pass through the gate. Gatto, you're able to let go of the gate if you so wish. More of these flaming creatures are already rushing towards you.
Definitely do it.
You watch as some of them tear your friends apart, devour them for a moment. The rest of them coming towards the gate. But once the gate's closed and the savage horde is finished with its prey, the undead begin to slink back into the dark tunnel. And they move in some sort of disquieting unison, even the ones that are dying, even the ones that are on fire, as though, again, they are one single writhing hive mind. And as they disappear into the hungry shadows you escape from, their wicked eyes linger on you until you can no longer see them, until those eyes finally vanish into the shadows. And you are alone now on the silent edge of Arkenberry Forest. Bleached moonlight hangs overhead, illuminating the eerie silhouette of the woods beyond you. Now the forest before you, a looming giant, and you with a decision. Will you go to Arkenberry? Will you go to Alderheim? Or will you strike out in another path? That's a different story. This is where this story ends today, just outside of Ostwald, with a couple of our parties still alive.
Hey, 50%. Right? 50%. That was, we made it. Okay. Holy shit.
I just want to say that, like, after getting out of there, Allie just runs and runs with Gatto until, like, literally she can't run anymore, and then sits down against a tree, and for the first time in years, she takes off her mask and allows herself to cry.
And while we're in a camp, Gatto takes out some bread, breaks it up, and eats it, and for the first time in a long time, doesn't say a thing.
Perfect.
Oh, big. Oh, shit. Wow.
I like Tom. Oh,
man. Tom. I like Tom as well. I felt bad for him. I like Finian as well. Yeah. I liked all of you guys, and in its own way, everyone was dead or heartbroken, or just broken in some way at the end. So, you know, in one way, I'm happy because, you know, that's the blood plague, man. What you gonna do? On the other hand, it's like, fuck. But holy shit, my friends. Chat, if you guys enjoyed it, let us know. That's what we're going to wrap up this segment. And holy shit, it's 12 hours. We're like officially 25% of the way there to finishing this 48-hour EncounterCon. Holy shit. If you are interested in the Blood Plague, Don wrote it, Weird Encounter Roleplay Kickstarter and published it, and you can go buy it on the PDF there, and the print version is available shortly, TM. Once I get approved for you, once Strive for Opportunity, let me sell it. So check it out if you enjoyed it, and stick around for the giveaways, which are about to happen in just a few minutes. But holy moly, Don, great job tonight. How was that?
Oh man, I had a blast. I've never, I think Bill mentioned I'd play tested some of the encounters in the Blood Plague before, but I've never actually really run it.
This was not that.
This was different. Yeah, I had to change some things up. I had such a great time. I loved all of your characters. The sad thing about a one shot is that it's a one shot, and but in a way, there's something empowering to that too. That self-contained story, and I love the story that you guys all brought for your characters. And Speedy, Jack, love getting to play with you guys. Haven't been able to play with you before, but I hope we get to play again. Folks in chat, thank you for being awesome. Will, thank you for doing this incredible 48-hour marathon. It's crazy. It's insane. And I have a hell of a lot of respect for you for doing it. I will not be staying awake for 48 hours straight. I will probably be having a couple of cocktails and going to bed soon. But in the meantime, at Donathan Fry on Twitter, follow me. I play a bunch of games. I do a lot of stuff with Encounter Roleplay and Will. And do check out the Blood Plague. There's a whole lot of goodness for you can take it apart and do whatever you want with it. It's really modular, and I think folks will really enjoy it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Don. Oh, I think it's the first time you've ever DM'd me, Don, as well. So that was super dope. Really enjoyed that.
My first time DMing
stuff
on stream for D&D.
Yeah. Oh shit. Really? That's so cool. Dope. Bill. Holy shit, man. How was that?
That was fun. That was as impactful as the ending to our 4-year campaign that Don and I just got through like a year ago. Like that was heavy. That was really heavy. You can find me. I'm in Dice Tribe, which is also an Encounter podcast with Don. You can find me at Bill of the Forest on Instagram and Twitter. This was so much fun, guys. Thank you for the opportunity. This is my second stream ever, and it's so much fun. I can't stop. I can't stop, guys.
Amazing, great stuff. It's great to have you on the channel, Speedy.
Thanks, man.
Oh man,
how was that, dude?
Dude, that was emotional. I'm shaking a little bit still. Oh god. When I first saw that this was gonna be a one shot, and I like immediately wanted to be a part of it. And originally I think it was full when I saw it on the list. But like even though I just saw it and I was like, oh, this would be a really cool character. And I had been thinking about it, and I looked back in there and saw an opening, and I was like, I need to sign up for it. I'll be hitting myself if I don't. And this was everything that I could have wanted out of a one shot and more. Like this is probably like the most emotional that I've gotten from what is a 3-hour session of a game. And that's crazy. Yeah, thank you, Donathan, for that was an awesome session, awesome GM, and I can't wait to get my hands on the full Kickstarter edition of the module and everything. All of you guys were fantastic role playing and playing together and everything. As for me, you can find me online at Not So Speedruns, pretty much everywhere, Twitch, Twitter, whatever. You can catch me here in another few hours at 10 a.m. Where I'll be GMing a game of my own in Blades in the Dark, which is going to be super fun. I also help organize a charity community called Cast Together, which is a collective of streamers supporting mental illness. And we are organizing a 24-hour stream next weekend, actually, starting on Saturday, that will be entirely raising money for To Write Love on Her Arms in honor of World Suicide Prevention Day. It's going to be probably equally emotional. Grant Ellis is going to be running some games. I'll be playing. It's going to be a super awesome time. Bunch of awesome streamers going to be there. So definitely check that out. I'll put the links in chat as well. Thank you, guys.
And friggin-tastic. Thanks, Speedy. Pleasure as always, and I'll see you at 10 a.m. Actually, I might try and be asleep at 10 a.m., but I'll be there, in spirit. Great stuff. Jack, awesome to have you on the channel as one of my friends today. Despite technical difficulties, I'm sorry about that, but how was that, dude?
Yeah, man, that was awesome. You know, tech difficulties happen, but it can't stop the magic of roleplay. And let me tell you, you know, like I said at the beginning, you know, I was one of the editors on this thing, so I read it multiple times, top to bottom throughout the process. You know, looking at different things, and as soon as I realized what part we were doing, I was just so excited because,
Right,
you know,
yeah.
when I first started reading this thing, you know, I started at the beginning and started going through. I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. And I got this spot. And I remember I went home and walked into the kitchen with my wife, and I just went, holy shit, this is a freaking party kill. Like, right here. This is awesome. Turncloaks, all the way, Penumbra, this is it right here. This scene. And, man, I was so happy for it that when we did this, because I just love this freaking part. But yeah, it was a hell of a lot of fun. Great players all around. Awesome game master. So yeah, I mean, just an awesome time. And yeah, people can follow me over everywhere as Jacko Buddy. Twitter is kind of my main hub for where I do things. I'm the sound editor for WonderQuest, which is an awesome encounter roleplay podcast. Everyone should check out if they haven't yet. If you love Turncloak, you love WonderQuest. Pulls on all the right heartstrings. And then I'm also on a couple different channels. I play D&D on the Reliant Games channel on Tuesdays. I'm on the Mimics and Monstrosities horror campaign on YouTube that comes out on Fridays. And then starting in 2 weeks on Thursdays, I'm also running a game on Unmade Gaming's channel, which Speedy is going to be a part of as well with us. So super excited for that. But yeah, so thanks for having me, guys. This was a hell of a lot of fun.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, it's great to have you guys to play. I agree. That's one of the tensest combats I've been a part of in D&D 5th edition in a very long time. So congrats to Dawn for making that so much fun. Despite the fact that it's like hours 9 to 12, I was actually feeling super awake for all of that. So yeah, that was a testament to the awesomeness of that game. But, my friends, the next game is coming. It's an eventually game. It's a viewer game with you guys joining in and playing with us. We did sign up on Discord last week, and there are free games this 40-hour stream, which you guys get to be a part of. So I will go to that. Thank you guys again. Awesome job. And until next time, try not to show too many now ones. I want to be laughing when you do. Good night, everyone. Bye. See you in a minute. I wish it was good night.